We hear from people who've gone through some of the toughest trials, challenges, and setbacks that one can face, and they didn't allow that to define or defeat them. They courageously moved towards their peace, purpose, and joy in spite of it all. Today, we hear how they jumped headfirst into their blessings. Our first OP isn't going to wallow in self-pity. Wife cheated. Next steps? Hello. I've been a lurker here for a little while, trying to process infidelity in my life. Long story short, wife and I have been married 8 years, together 12, and have 2 small kids. This year has been tough, and we have had our arguments, but nothing that I would ever think would push my wife to cheat. Anyways, I noticed her lately being distant and being uncommunicative and decided to confront one evening. At that time, she said that she was not happy and couldn't feel a spark anymore. At first, I freaked out on myself thinking I was being a non-attentive husband, truthfully an issue. However, the next day, I caught a very strange message on her phone that was extremely lovey-dovey. I took a look and then found my wife was messaging a man for a long time with lots of I love yous and plans for a future together. Effing destroyed. Anyways, taking the advice of the many threads on here, I didn't confront initially. I actually read as much as I could, contacted a couple lawyers for advice, one now on retainer, and got my head on straight and calm. I confronted my wife a couple days ago calmly and asked if she was having an affair, and after a couple minutes, she admitted everything. Long story short, it's been going on for 6 months, and she claims it's the deepest emotional connection ever. Complete BS, but whatever. To end it all, I gave my list of boundaries: cut off contact, marriage counseling, etc. The thing that I think is the final nail in an honest attempt to reconcile is she got extremely aggravated with cutting off contact, especially when I told her to do it in front of me and even insisted to see him one last time for closure. I effing held my ground and told her if he is so important, pack a bag and go live with him, to which she backed off, but not before she told me I was a controlling a-hole. Anyways, she sent a text this morning and showed me, but my spidey senses seem to think she will try a different means of communication. I'm thinking there is no hope, and I honestly don't want it at this point, but I just wanted to be able to tell my kids in 20 years I at least tried. We have marriage counseling tomorrow, but I'm thinking it's time to file before wasting any time or grief. I'm cautious to move too fast because of my kids, but is this the right way to do it? Update. The past few weeks, simply put, have sucked, but it's given me time for a lot of soul searching and thinking. As an update from the previous thread, the wife and I did attend some counseling after the initial confrontation, and I will say this particular counselor had been very good about listening to both of us and not assigning blame or anything like that, and helping to navigate our new reality. She has also helped to uncover some structural issues in our relationship, and while that doesn't at all excuse my wife's behavior, it's helpful at least knowing for a future relationship and not repeating the same mistakes. As also mentioned in the thread, my wife's initial reaction to my boundary to cut off contact with the affair partner appeared to go unheeded, and I did catch some small messages between them before she completely went dark with her chat logs and phone. After seeing that, I decided to file, and she was served a few days ago, and in parallel, I decided to have a heart-to-heart with my father-in-law, as we are super close, and I needed to prioritize this support for our kids versus our relationship, as I could see my wife wanted to sweep this under the rug. Needless to say, my wife was initially extremely upset. Her fantasy was blown up, but our therapist did talk it through with her from my point of view on why this needed to happen, and I think she is starting to realize the consequence of her actions and start to see there are real things that are going to be lost. From here on out, I'm just trying to process the new life ahead and the huge change in my identity from a husband, father, to something else. Same with her. I will say, since I filed, my wife was immediately shocked when I dropped that on her, and she has been very emotional these past few days. I honestly think she thought I would never be able to walk away. I have kept her at arm's length, but I have seen a distinct change in her, and on a positive note, we have talked more, kept our conversation civil, and focused on our shared priorities, children mostly. I've made it very clear to her that she left a huge wound on me and that she has to do the heavy lifting to help repair and give me space and time if I can ever begin to forgive. I'll say it again and again, her actions are the most selfish, self-centered, horrible thing you could do to a person, but I have not lost sight that we still need to raise our children, and that is my focus point as I navigate how I will move to the next phase of my personal happiness. I wanted to thank everyone for the previous comments and insight. I am honestly proud that I found the strength to not wallow in self-pity, anger, or sadness, and was able to make the right moves to retain my dignity and look forward to a bright future. I honestly don't know all the next moves, and my feelings are constantly in flux, but I am starting to feel some inner peace. Thank you all again. Our first year welcome comes from Responsible Yam 7973. I am very dry proud of your progress. I don't know what dry proud is, but whatever. You stuck it out and exhausted that route. Yes, she was deep in the affair fog, but she not only broke your boundaries, but also your heart when she told you he was the deepest emotional connection she had. My only advice to you is that you stay this course at least until divorce afterwards. If you want to reconcile and you feel it's the right path, then go ahead. But if you don't divorce her and take her back, she and your children will understand that there are some actions that don't have consequences. Again, well done. We are all very proud of you. And even dry proud, apparently. Next thought from Florida Junebug 75. I just read your first post on this one. My situation was almost identical to yours. I caught her messaging the affair partner after she agreed to cut him off. When we went to couples therapy, they tried to drag me into relationship analysis, and I blew up on the therapist and my ex after they tried to both corner me about housework and doing more of it. I then realized that the therapists cater to soften any accountability that would cause conflict. I had to force the counselor to confront my ex about the ongoing text messages. She wouldn't do it. I was basically running the counseling session myself, and we quit thereafter anyways, after I decided to leave her. It's like an emergency room patient comes in with a gunshot wound in his chest, and the doctor begins by asking if the patient smokes or eats too much cholesterol. All those other health factors are irrelevant as long as there's an open hole in your chest. This is why when you started describing your counseling session, I was getting pissed and thinking that they were somehow going to convince you that you had a part to blame for the cheating. My ex was also shocked I went through with splitting up too. Anyways, good luck, and I think you're doing the right thing. Our next comment comes from D Reddit Avenger. OP, don't discount what will be lost if you stay. This is never talked about, but it's a very real thing. Anyway, you are on the right track. Though I will say I think marriage counseling at this point is a mistake in this situation. You can't work on a marriage without a framework of good faith. You need that as a solid foundation. It takes consistent effort for a wayward spouse to build that, and it's something that needs to be earned. It's just a waste of money to try to do that right after an affair, like putting up walls on a dirt slab. I think the reason why filing brings peace is because one of the things that is stolen from you by cheating is your ability to have agency in your life. You recover this when you file. Your future is no longer subject to your cheating spouse, who by actions forced you to make uninformed decisions about your future. Filing immediately regains control. Even if you eventually stay together, it balances the scale to a more even level of control. I would be prepared for the possibility of a sudden change of heart by her. Affairs have none of the cares of real life. It's very easy to have the best relationship of your life when the only time you spend together is taken up by only the fun stuff. There is also an artificial intensity that the forbidden nature of the relationship builds. That will be gone now as well, and real life has already encroached on her la-la land. She may come running back to you to save her, but honestly, this is more about her consequence and less about her love for you. Besides, I think most wayward spouses mistake intensity of feeling for love. They desperately want to be with their affair partner because circumstances won't let them, and they think this intensity means it's a deep love that they never felt before. Nope, it's just lust. Then, when their marriage is about to fall apart and they are about to lose their primary person in their life, they suddenly intensely want to be with that person again. But that also isn't love, it's desperation. One of the first things you need to assess is, do they even know how to love? Besides, their contrition is really only a requirement. To me, the most important thing you want to make your decision by is what the quality of your life will be moving forward. Good luck, OP. Continue to be strong. It will serve you well in whatever relationship you have going forward. You will recover faster, too. One final comment from Gatorbro. Very strong. You're doing this the right way and are doing the best for you and your family. The way you describe your wayward spouse is absolutely correct, and her fantasy unfortunately didn't give your children any consideration and how her fantasy would affect them. By the way you have done things, I know you will continue to stay strong for yourself and your children. Good on you for putting you and your kids first, OP. Infidelity is soul-crushing and devastating. You did all you could and you took all the right steps. And you're absolutely right about her actions being the most selfish, self-centered, horrible thing you could do to a person. She had no right to do that to you. If she ever had an issue in the marriage, she should have been open and honest about how she was feeling. I think that's a huge killer for marriages. Communication. Instead of doing all this behind your back and living a fantasy life, attempt to find love outside of a marriage. She should have done all that she could to salvage and repair the marriage that you two had. I think if people stuck around and actually tried to nourish what they had instead of looking elsewhere, a lot more relationships would last. The energy she was putting into someone else should have been put into seeing what the two of you could have done with your relationship. It sounds like counseling was a mostly positive experience for the both of you in the end. It's too bad you didn't try that route when it wasn't too late. I'm so sorry that it all had to happen this way, but I know you're going to be just fine, and you're exactly where you're meant to be. What would you say to OP if you could? Tell us in the comments below. And up next, this OP is on the pursuit of happiness. Just wanting to get this off my chest. You called me with no caller ID today. Never knew that would skirt around being blocked by someone. Clever. I recognized your voice. You asked me if I had time to talk. I thought to myself, I wasted 3 years talking in circles with you. I won't do you the kindness of helping you get closure. Whose house did you walk to? Crying in the rain after the 100th argument with your father? Who embarrassed you then? Who made you tea and listened to you vent? Who helped you process all of your turmoil towards your psycho ex? Who flew to Minnesota and drove 27 hours in a cramped Kia Soul across the country so that you could study for an exam? Who suffered through your effed up family just to ensure we could be happily married in the future? Who stayed up on countless nights to listen to you vent because you didn't have friends who gave a crap? Who went down on you every single time we had sex just to make sure you finished? Who made flashcards to help you study for OChem? Who did your Spanish homework for you? Who welcomed you into his family, let you live in his house for months during a pandemic, cooked for you every day, found you a therapist, taught you to drive again, spent literal hours choosing thoughtful gifts, taxied you across town? Who cried with you? Who laughed with you? Who loved you? It wasn't him, it was me. And you let him into your apartment and screwed him in your bed because I was too depressed to let you leech off my energy for a few months. I told you not to call me again and hung up. You could never do it on your own. That's why our relationship sapped the life out of me. I'm angry because I've been thinking about you less and less, and now you're doing exactly what you hated your ex for doing. Digging your claws in, trying to maintain some sort of effing connection out of a selfish desire and stupendous cognitive dissonance that won't allow you to perceive yourself as a bad person. You've experienced the depth of my compassion, my generosity, and I know you hunger for it. You might even feel that I could find it in my heart to forgive you, but over the course of our relationship, I've discovered strength and stoicism despite my flaws and insecurities. I've suffered through your trauma, and I refuse to taste it once again. I journal about you now so that I can fight the urge to call you and unleash the rage I so desperately want you to cower under. That's the difference between me and you. I seek happiness, while you wallow in self-pity. Edit. Hi everyone. Sorry for ghosting this thread. It's been really busy at work lately. I'm going to try to respond to all the comments, but I just wanted to say that my mood has genuinely improved from all the support and solidarity I received here earlier this week. You're all lovely effing people. A. Ethan V. has our first reaction. Powerful words, mate. Stay on track. You're going to come out of this better than ever. Next comment from No Fear, No There. Nice door slam in the face. I liked it. And just when you thought No Fear, No There had no more to say, sometimes it does hurt to do what needs to be done. Kind of like that medicine that tastes so bad, but in the long run, you overcome the illness to be a better person. Journaling is a beautiful and powerful way of processing your feelings, OP. Research shows that regularly reflecting on how you're coping with your breakup in a structured way reduces post-breakup loneliness and distress because it helps you redefine your sense of self. It's also a really great way to practice letting go and release the thoughts and emotions that have built up during breakups. When you experience complicated feelings, it can be hard to pull apart all of the different thoughts you might have about what you're going through. By sitting down to journal, you are taking the time to slow your mind down and really think slowly about different aspects of your current experiences, OP. Let us know your experience with journaling in the comments below. Our last OP did some serious leveling up. 8 years later, suspicions confirmed. I recently saw that my ex got engaged to the guy I always suspected she cheated on me with. When we were together, she would gaslight the hell out of me and deny it when I would ask her straight up if she was seeing someone else. I saw the news of her engagement on social media. I don't follow her anymore, and we haven't spoken in years, but a friend told me, so I was curious and looked. The post caption read something like, 10 years of us. But we broke up 8 years ago. So it seems they were going behind my back while we were still together, apparently for the last 2 years of our relationship. It's obviously been a really long time and I feel fully over this person. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about it, and I think it's like this. That past version of myself was so exhausted, anxious, distraught, and depressed because I was being treated so badly by her and I didn't trust my instincts. She lied to my face and I bought it. I feel sad for younger me because he didn't have the confidence to trust his own experience and was afraid of being alone. I am glad that the person I am now wouldn't tolerate that kind of treatment. but crap, I just wish I could give my younger self a hug and say, trust your perception and get out. Actually, it's probably better I didn't find out back then because it would have absolutely destroyed me. Finding out now gives me a weird feeling like maybe I dodged a bullet or only got grazed, but that's all. I hope she figured out how to be a better partner by now. Fortunately, not my problem either way. The community has a couple thoughts they wanted to throw at this OP. First, Fit Acadia 8074. What a scum. You feel vindicated to know you weren't crazy for having suspicions. Shake my head, let karma do its thing on them, and you focus on your prosperous life you have. All the success and happiness for you, mate. Next comment from Tokyo 245. You're so much better off without her. Also, it's funny because that relationship is going to be toxic as crap. They both know what each other is capable of, and they'll constantly be looking over their shoulder, hoping the other one doesn't get bored and decide to go run off with someone else. I hope you're doing well and have found more stable and loving relationships. And one more thought from Mysterious Teaching 30. The sad news for the rest of humankind is she's probably going to procreate and raise kids just like her. You dodged a bullet. Her truth is a lie and will always be born of a poisoned tree. Glad you're over it though. Wow, I'm so proud of you coming so far, OP. These feelings are all signs of growth. You've done a tremendous job at finding yourself and becoming the person you were meant to be. Take a look at how beautiful your life is despite how it ended and all that pain you went through. You should be so proud of yourself. Thank your younger self for having the courage that you did and for standing up and fighting the hurt and the pain. What an accomplishment. Thank you for joining us today on Our Space. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also, please let us know what you thought of today's content. Until next time.